It's just the overall point I guess I'm making is just like people have put 0 hours into something and then think that like they can beat someone who's put in like thousands.
Put thousands,
And it's just like the same thing with like photography, same thing with doing a podcast, same thing with talking on camera, same thing with crypto. Like people just disrespect hard work. And I think I've always, maybe it's the way I was raised. My dad always taught me like the more you put in, the more you get out. I didn't get raised with the whole like talent point of view. It was more like, you know, I've said the story many times. I do an exam in school and I got 72%. Let's say Stephen got 77. Stephen's the smartest kid in the class, right? And my dad would be like, what did you get? I said 72. I was like, yeah, but that's good because Stephen got 77. And like, let's say my dad knows you're the smartest kid. He'd be like, Stephen got 77. He was like, okay, I understand that you got 72. Well, sorry, I understand it was a hard exam because if the smart kid Stephen got 77, it must have been a hard exam, right? Why did he not get 95? He was like, okay, but the minimum you should have got was 77 or 78. Like the minimum was to match Stephen. Because why did he beat you? I was like, yeah, but that's Stephen. Stephen's a genius. This was me at like 8 years old. Then my dad would say, yeah, but who worked harder, you or Stephen? I was like, don't know. Like, who do you think Stephen worked less hard than you? I was like, no, he definitely worked harder. It's like, exactly.
Yeah, so there was a gap, right?
That's it.
But the worst thing is when you recognize the discrepancy and you still don't do it. That's worse because some people don't know, right? You explain this concept to them and they don't really understand.
Do you really think? Do you think if you explained it like that to someone, they still wouldn't understand?
I think some people don't understand, but they're also coping, right? They think that this person's smarter than them. They've got more potential, right? Genetically, they're smarter. I can never compete with that. He works really hard.
I get it with like basketball or something, like LeBron James. Like,
of course. His arms are fucking huge. He's a giant. He's very athletic. Obviously, he's going to pick it up faster than me. I'm never going to be dunking like LeBron because he's a giant. He has this different advantages, and I agree. But I think intelligence is it's good for certain tests and things like that. But I think the most measurable form of a person's intelligence is the life that they live.
100%.
Like, are you living a life others would want to live? It doesn't really matter if you're built as smart as Stephen Hawking if your life sucks.
Yeah, because we're not.
Yeah,
but we'd rather be us.
I'm definitely not. I was in school 9 years and I didn't study so much. And
so when did you drop out of school or leave school?
Year 9. So I dropped out in year 9.
Is year 9 in Australia the same as year 9 in England?
Yeah.
How old were you?
It would have been 15.
Okay, maybe a bit older. Maybe that's like grade 9 in America, 15. Which is year 10 in England. Okay, 15. That's crazy.
But yeah, I was only 15. So I dropped out to work and then joined the army after that. But it's just like anything, right? It's just, I learned one aptitude, your skill. I think people need to realize kind of what they're not so much good at, but what they can actually follow through with, right? And have a maxed out one skill. And that's somewhere to step on. Like if you have a maxed out fitness, and then you can be like, I can take that a little bit more chill and I can develop the rest versus being just okay at everything. Most people are just like okay at many things. Like you meet them, they don't really have a good physique. It's not great, but they spend time in the gym, but they also want to maintain a perfect social life. Everything has to be like just okay. Yeah. They're not ready to like go die hard in one specific subject. Like I'm ready to be a pro boxer or I'm ready to be, I'm studying. Every time I get home, all I'm focusing on is some sort of skill that I want to learn. Crypto, sales, marketing, something. I'm building websites. I'm doing something that's going to produce value in the future. They don't want to be like the guy.
Just a no man's land, bro.
Yeah, but the guys who built the world and the guys who are doing everything are obsessed in one thing. When I first discovered crypto or got into it, I was out of prison. So I first got into it before I went to prison. I got out of prison and realized that it was an interesting story. A guy who's very rich now and very successful was the one that got me into crypto. I met him during a meetup and he's just taught me about Bitcoin. And then I started investing. It was $800. Wow, Ethereum was like $20.
Shit.
Started buying it then.
What do you think of Ethereum, bro? Don't tell me about it.
I think it's shit now, bro.
Really?
No, I mean, it's just in the shitter though, right?
No, but do you think it's going to go back up?
I think it'll go up in the long term, but it's got a like teething issues, right? It doesn't really have the utility of it is damaged because they got so many layer 2s. Like people want us to use like Matic. They want to use like, I don't know, base chain. They want to use even the like USDT usage of that specific chain. People like, I want to use Tron, I want to use Base or any other Solana. Solana's a big retail chain, right? Like a lot of people want to trade meme coins. They want to use the speculation. A lot of it's gone off to Solana. I was offered to invest in Solana when it was 10 cents.
Wow.
Our group met with the CEO of Solana and they were like, he's arrogant. And then we didn't invest. The 10 cents is like $100 and something now.
Shit.
But that's the truth. He was arrogant because he had SBF Sam. They'd had a meeting with FTX already. They knew FTX were going to invest, so they were arrogant. They're like, we don't need your money. Yeah. You have to convince us to let you invest. The best investments is always like that. Like when it's the best company to invest in, you have to convince them to take your money because there's so much money out there for good projects and good people and good products, right? People sometimes don't know that are watching. There's a lot of money out there for people that are exceptional. If someone is truly exceptional at what they do, like a good sales or a good marketer or a good guy who's good with content, guy that has ingenuity, he can make money. Like if he can work under a guy who's very successful and actually come here and be useful and meet a lot of people and get exposed to a lot of ideas. But comes with competency. Like if you're the best in your field, you're never going to be poor. If you're the best salesman or not the best in the world, but you're very good at it, you're never going to be poor. You're going to come up with systems. You're going to come up with ideas. Someone's not going to want to lose you. Someone who's got a big product or something that they sell is going to want to keep you around. And now in doing so, you're going to be exposed to a lot of other high performers. And eventually it's pay your dues, and eventually you can run your own system, run your own idea. But a lot of people don't really want to pay their dues now. They want to be the man themselves. And then they get cut off because then they get gate kept out because then they're not under anyone. And now the people are like, I'm going to gatekeep this person out because he could be a threat, versus if they actually built and provided enough value and then eventually went their own way. Because everyone knows that they're going to. Like when you have a rock star that works for you, sometimes you're like, I know I've got him for a couple of years, but eventually as it is, he's going to spread his wings and he's going to do his own shit and he's going to be a success. I can't keep him here because maybe he wants to demand more money, and he can. So he's going to do his own thing. He still respects me. I still respect him, but he's not going to compete with me and that he's going to steal my business. But I know that I can't keep him forever because he's too big to contain. And that's the way that it's done right, because then they meet people and it's all done the right way, and then they can essentially run their own thing. And it doesn't feel like they picked your pocket, versus the guy who tries to work with you for a month, learn what you do, steal your contacts, steal your business, and try to damage it. You have to pay your dues in life, because just being the best is not enough. If people don't like you, you're going to struggle.
You have to be likable. Yeah. I always talk about that.
Or they don't trust you.
Yeah. People underestimate, I think, the people skills, and it always goes back down to that point. Like, I'm sure you get DMs, people say, bro, how do you make money? Or what's the secret to make money? And I'm like, bro, like, you can take any business model, and if you just stick to it, you'll make money. Like, bro, there are people making money with OnlyFans managements, the actual models, the managers. There are people making money as influencers.
That's an ecosystem, right?
Of course.
The chatters, it's everything.
There's people making money as like creating the softwares like OnlyFans. It's just like there's money everywhere, like
people
you said.
Running AI accounts for like content. Like they run faceless accounts and they make bank. I've known a few that they actually make good money, like run faceless accounts that's pushing content and do well. It's this essentially, is it an idea that's going to be in the future, still exist? And is it a talent that's going to be needed? And there's also like different auxiliary benefits. Like if you're good at sales, you're going to be around people that are selling ideas like products. So you're going to learn what sells and where their money is. See, originally when I first started, I didn't realize what fields money was in, because I started essentially selling drugs. But then after that, I was in crypto, and I realized that I was just kind of lucky, right? Because there was a group of us and we started a fund, but it was all at the right time, right? So I started in 2017. That was the bull run. So I was lucky because that's just the way that God or whatever put me in the right spot at the right time. I was trusted. I never fucked people over. I've never fucked anyone over that I can't say to my face, like, I'm going to fuck you over. So then there's no one out there being like, he's screwed me over in some way. Because if I ever screwed them over, I've only ever done it if they've done it to me. And then you're just like cutting contact, trying to get what you can back because they're trying to screw you over in some way. But trust is very important in business. See, a lot of people like online, they out people. They post like people leak someone's DMs or, oh, I don't like this guy, and now I've leaked like a private conversation with him and I'm going to make
it's
him
not
look
good at
bad.
all. Yeah.
And people think later on, they're like, I don't trust this person because I don't want my private DMs leaked. Yeah. You don't want yours. Even if there's nothing to hide, you're still like, now I can't trust that person ever anymore. Trust is, you can't be in certain rooms if people think that they can't trust you, because you might report what you see. It's not necessarily that it's bad, but people don't want you discussing their ideas.
100%.
They might tell you something private, right?
Yeah.
Or you might learn something that you can hurt them with, and then you still have to be able to keep it cool. And even if you separate, you're still like able to not make them look bad or not be sour or not be running around saying that they're scumbags, because then the next person who sees it's like, that's the flaw. It's not a man's thing, that sort of idea, like to be a backstabber is not really a good business strategy, because it's not the people that you piss off today. It's like, how are you going to be 30, like when you're 30, 40, 50? It's a long time. Like the guys making bank today, they're one slip up away from essentially can be like canceled too, where a lot of guys are like, I don't want to deal with this person anymore. They did something wrong. I always say it with crypto, like guys that are ballers in the bull market, you see it here, running around, oh, I'm the man, Hassan, like I bought this coin and it went up and I can't get anything wrong. And then they make a few wrong calls and then they lose everything, or they bag hold a shit coin to zero that they made bank on. They had heaps of paper profits. Oh, I'm going to make $10 million this year. And then they're like, actually, I just went bankrupt. And they were here balling out, renting cars, buying things. And then they're like, do you know anyone that wants to buy my car? And then they just like bouncing out in the bear market. Because it's life, like if you're not humble, like life will humble you quickly
100%, yeah.
and harshly. And being humbled when you only have money is difficult because a lot of the crypto guys get rich and they get girls, they get this, they get that. But they haven't built the rest. So the girls and people around them are only around them because they have money. And then when they lose it, it's like they've lost like a second limb because now they've lost everyone. They didn't have that foundation. People didn't want to be around them until they had money. And that's tough for crypto guys to generally get because they often don't build the rest. You still have to be respected, be respectable, respect others. You're never going to be respected if you don't respect other people as well. And 100%. Crypto guys, sometimes they get really arrogant. You're around them and they're just like, Hassan, you're a brokey. I made $10 million on this crypto coin. And then some of them doing rug pulls or like unethical stuff. And then it's just the nature of the game.
I had one guy DM me like maybe 2 days ago. And he was literally telling me how in the bull run or something, he ran up a few million in crypto. Yeah. And he's literally DMing me, asking me for advice. I presume he's lost the money. It's like when you hear these stories, like, it's
just taking $1 million out. Like what you can do with $1 million.
Precise, bro. And that's another bullshit thing.
Build a business, right?
So many people online say $1 million's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like they're not in the real.
Imagine $1 million and you're getting like even a business that makes like 30%. Yeah. Like you build something that you can make 30% on $1 million. That's still bank. Like
of course it is.
That's a couple $100K a year.
But I mean, like $1 million is still enough to just.
That's a house.
I mean, we don't have to explain it. I think hopefully $1 million's obviously a lot to a lot of people.
I think you lose track of it though, right?
No, you can. Bro, even myself, I sometimes lose track of it because I live in Dubai.
Do you spend, do you ever have a spending problem? Sometimes I do.
What do you mean by problem? So
sometimes I can spend too much and I look and I'm like, I'm just spending like crazy, like partying and doing things.
Honestly, no, just because I also have my brother. So he's a year and a half younger than me. And he's never drank. He's never done any drugs. He's never done anything crazy. So he's like probably, I'd say he's more sensible.
Yeah.
Like I can't see him kind of like getting addicted to the lifestyle. Yeah. Whereas I could definitely imagine myself getting lost in the lifestyle.
Yeah. Like you go to Dubai Mall, drop 10K.
I've done that before, but like it doesn't, I also make a lot. So that doesn't really dent me too much. It's more so, So to answer the question, no. Yeah. I've not really had a spending problem, but like we were saying earlier in the podcast, I 100% could have a spending problem if I'm around certain people. Like I know myself, I'm very much like, bro, when we were talking about the IQ thing earlier, I've been around some dumb people before for brief periods of time. And even my girlfriend noticed it. She's like, you're literally getting dumber being around these people. Yeah. And like, I noticed as well, I was like, that's the most true thing you've said. Like, I literally start becoming dumber.
You believe that when you're around, you essentially
100%,
become...
100%, 100%. Like, I believe in that more than anything.
If they're dishonest, if
bro, that's why like
characters that are off, you find your integrity slipping.
Bro, so we were talking about this just before the camera started rolling. You know, like, I was making the point that in Dubai, a lot of people say that Dubai has fake people. But it's one of those things that I don't really notice so much because I only hang around my brother and a couple people from my community. And they're just like good, wholesome people. So it's kind of like I don't deal with those dodgy people. I had a friend who told me the other day that...
And your community is like a vetting process, right? Because you actually know them in person.
So my community, you pay to join. So it's not vetting.
Them in person, some of them.
But all the people I'm actually friends with, I've met them multiple times. Yeah. And also, I always say there's different kinds of trust. Like, you and I trusted each other to meet at this time to do this podcast.
No, we wouldn't give each other $1 million.
Of course. And we wouldn't give each other our crypto seed phrase.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just like, but I wouldn't give my mum my crypto seed phrase because she might accidentally send it to you.
Or by mistake, right? Accidents can happen.
So I always say there's two kinds of trust.
You never give someone the like nuclear detonator code, right? You got to be very careful. If you give someone the button that can destroy you, you got to be careful because they might do it.
They might slip into it.
Yeah, they might by mistake, right? Yeah. And you never give them the kill switch, right?
I always say there's like two kinds of trust. There's like trust in terms of competence and trust in terms of like loyalty and good intentions.
That's true.
Like my mum has more. I was just gonna say my mum has like I know her intentions for me are gonna be like 100% pure. Yeah. Yours, for example, they might not.
They might not be. You don't know.
You know.
Of course.
But then it's like trust is in like if I'm getting into a street fight, I'd rather you by my side or my mum. Yeah. Of course, I choose you. So it's just like. There's two kinds of trust, but then the best people for you are the ones you can trust both ways. Yeah. Like your guys that you live in Poland with.
They're very good. Ethan,
you can trust them both ways.
Jonah, it's very true. But do you ever find like you sometimes, I have a theory with that too. I like to hire people that I believe loyalty is the most important to me.
Bro, I'm 100%
I don't care if you're like, you're shit at what
I'm more on that than anyone.
If you're like suck at sales, like you're terrible at it, but I know that you'll never shank me in the back. Like you protect my name in private. You don't like, I don't feel any passive aggressive crap. Yeah, it's the same thing for you.
100%.
Then I would try to back them as much as I can, and also take them with you, right?
100%. Like I get goosebumps as you're saying that because I just know how much money I've lost by probably not sometimes hiring on competence.
Yeah.
I'm super on the loyalty point. Like
But sometimes maybe that saved you from like a big problem.
yeah. So I've not really been. I mean, I told you a story just before
Big
this podcast.
backstabbing sort of.
I have had a couple backstabbings.
okay.
I think I told you one of them before
Yeah.
we started. But for the most part, I've definitely like avoided a lot of bullshit that people get involved with. And I think it's not even so much like the bullshit because let's say I'm going to make a lot more money and then I also have to deal with more bullshit. You could
true.
argue that's just the price you pay.
And more risk.
But for me, it's more so I just physically don't want to like have a life where someone close to me backstab me. It's just for me, it's just like it's not
Betrayal
worth the
only
money.
comes from a friend, right? And
it's
that's
just not
what hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's just I don't want all that. I'd rather just make less money and still make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But just know that the people
And you
around
also
me
can keep it centralized because you feed everyone. Everyone wins instead of people winning that you don't really, maybe they don't deserve to win.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
For me, that's just not.
Not like a promoter sort of thing. Some
Yeah,
people
it's
jump
just-
on and just talk about anything.
Yeah. No, I want to be around people who I actually trust.
Some people can sell like pharmaceutical. They can sell anything. They don't care. Their audience are. I'll sell you on everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's think with you.